I think that the lessons that you can learn from Australia are that governments need to persist with removing barriers to competition and supporting firms to compete more effectively, even in the face sometimes of resistance and difficulty. The tasks that we faced in reforming an economy that attempted to provide protection and assistance for every firm and failed, the lessons we learned from that were that the government must conduct its public activities in a way that suggests it can't be turned, that you cannot be shifted from your purpose even in the face of what will be quite difficult circumstances. Some people will lose their jobs, but our experience was the economy continues to grow and many more people obtain jobs as long as the government persists. Competition is a fantastic weapon to be supported by governments. So the ability to allow your best firms to compete strongly against each other, we all understand that as consumers. That's what we want. We want a choice of service so that firms fight for our business and they offer us better services. Sometimes better prices, but often it's just mainly about quality of service. And that's true at the border, so that limitations on foreign firms competing with your local firms are not desirable if your local firms are not as competitive and close to the production frontier as you would like them to be. And that benefits the most important person in all of this transaction, which is not the government. It benefits the consumer. All of us, we make up the economy, and we should get some gains from these reforms. And it's a very difficult question, and I don't want to say that Australia has solved this problem, because I used to, although I'm the chairman of the Productivity Commission now, I have run a telecommunications department in Australia and a primary industries department and an environment department, so I've done many jobs, and they do interact with just this issue. How do you add value to production? And I think of my primary industry job, we knew of much better techniques, scientifically proven for agriculture to increase production and potentially allow options to value add. But it's very difficult to convince farmers to make change. And so I don't think we solved that problem, even though we had the right answer. Here is science. It tells you a better solution. You will make more money and businesses will be able to transform your product more readily. So even being right, even finding the technology answer isn't enough of the answer. The other answer is people have to be convinced that the change is going to benefit them. And these farmers I was talking about, the thing is, farming moves with the seasons. And we were trying to suggest to farmers that you could introduce a technology called no-till. You didn't have to get on your tractor and plough your land, and you would get a better return. But the farmers thought, but what will I do in the autumn? I have no job. I'll have to sit at home. And so they got on the plough and ploughed, even though it wasn't. So adding value add in primary production, it's very difficult. It's not sufficient to know the technology. But I would say, if you don't know the technology improvements, you certainly can't do that. So it is a useful role for government to invest in the research that helps firms determine what's the best technology that can enable us to value add. And that applies not just to farming, but it applies to mining and a significant range of primary industries that Australia and Argentina are both very interested in.